Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we got another Walking Dead TV show Q&A. Before we dive into that, though, the boots. If you asked a question about the boots, I did a video about that already, and my thoughts and opinions have not changed. So check out that video. Let's dive into this with Joseph W. Do you think Simon will die? Yes, but not in Season 7. Matthew R. What point will we start all-out war? You also said we're in the thick of March to War, the first half chewed through comic material, but you feel like we are not getting all-out war until Season 8. I don't think we're going to get all-out war until Season 8, but I strongly disagree with being in the thick of March to War right now. Carl going to the Sanctuary was not a March to War. Michonne going with the Savior was not a March to War. Daryl being in the jail cell, introduction to Ezekiel and the Kingdom, not a March to War, checking in on Carol and Morgan, the Ocean Side, all of this stuff. Nothing here is a March to War. The very end where Rick is like, okay, you know what, let's get this started. That is the beginning of the March to War. I mean, Rick, up until that point, he was neutered, doing everything Negan wanted him to do. So, in my eyes, we are now getting started with a March to War. So, getting all-out war in Season 8, it definitely fits as far as the structure of having each half a different feel. You're oppressed and beaten down in the first half of Season 7. The second half is rising up, and it's the March to War. Season 8, first half will be all-out war. Maybe that's part 1, and then second half is part 2. I'm hoping that's the case. Next up, we got Jake K. If you could be an extra in The Walking Dead, who would you be? Savior, Hilltop, Walker. I would love to be a really cool Walker. That would be awesome. However, I would like to point myself out to my daughter, so I'd probably want to be a Savior. Andrew S. Do you agree if Rick dies in The Walking Dead, it ruins the show? Yes, right now. If he died in the very next episode, the show tanks. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. But if they properly set up the world to go on without him, I think it'll take a hit in popularity, but it'll definitely continue to some degree. Maybe even fade out after a little bit, and then it will come back in a few years once you give it a break. Karen M. Do you think Daryl will finally feel something when he sees Carol with Ezekiel? No. I've never been on board with the Daryl and Carol relationship, even more so than the Rick and Michonne. The Rick and Michonne, even though I liked the idea of him and her being best friends better than, and I still do, I like it better than them being in an intimate relationship. Even though I like that better, there's still signs, and I'll admit there's absolutely clear signs of maybe flirting. There's clear signs of a connection there. There's clear signs of a future, together. I don't see that with Carol and Daryl. All the way back in like Season 3, maybe the first or second episode. Yeah, maybe there's a couple lines here and there. There's a couple little flirting here and there that made me think maybe there's a chance. But after that point in time, it became something different, at least for me. If they put them in a relationship together, I wouldn't, kick and scream about it. I could probably see it if they flowed into it properly. But if we just get Daryl insanely jealous because she's hooking up with Ezekiel, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of out of nowhere, a little bit silly. You know what I mean? Because we didn't see any set up there at all. So, no, I don't think so. Erica Dixon. Will Negan use Eugene and bullets, and will Rick decide to make the bullets at the hilltop instead? This is interesting, and I talked about this in the previous Q&A, but the key is not Eugene. It's the factory where they make the bullets, the building, the area itself, because that has the machinery he needs. Without that machinery, there's no making bullets. So, Rick can't make bullets at the hilltop. That's why Eugene is so important. That's why Rick and Alexandria are so important. You can't just make bullets with the recipe at the hilltop because the hilltop does not have the machinery. The machinery is very, very, very important. So that's why I feel that Negan will be so preoccupied with Daryl's escape and Joey's death that he'll kind of put Eugene on the back burner, and that will give time for Dwight to get Eugene out. You know what I mean? As far as the bullets, I think it will still be Eugene, Rick, near Alexandria, where Eugene never discloses the information about the location to Negan. Negan could even come and scoop up Eugene. Rick could even take the recipes, go to the building. Rosita could show him, and they could get some people to make the bullets there. Maybe Eugene can come out once he escapes, and he can show them how to make bullets faster, or this, or maybe make some changes. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting changes they can make here. Fatima. Wait, have I always been mispronouncing this name? Fatima. Scale of 1 to 10. Rate Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan. How to improve him. A scale of 1 to 10, man, I give him an 8. Absolutely. He loses those 2 points. 1 point fully for not building on some weight, some muscle to him. Absolute. Listen, he does a fantastic job when it comes to the acting. And even when he shaved his face, I got a little nervous. I'm like, oh, fuck, fans are going to fucking hunt me down, kick my ass because I made such a deal out of his face, you know? Because in the trailer, he makes this weird-looking smirk. He had his, like, tongue out, you know? And I was like, oh, fuck. But then once you see him on screen, his face is fulled out, you know what I mean? He looks badass. He still looks like a badass Negan. He was just making that funny little teasing face because he was walking away at that time. When it comes to his appearance, it is perfect, except for when they do the wide shots. And it's like, man, you know what? In the comic, when they did the wide shots, I was like, fuck, you're fucked. Even without guns, if you get in a one-on-one fight, Negan's just going to pick you up like a rag doll. He's just going to slam you down a little bit. He might even rape you, dude. He's going to fucking rape you, Rick. And then he's going to have his way with you. Fucking run. That shit is scary. I don't get that vibe with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I kind of feel like, man, you know what? If they throw down, Rick might be able to beat his ass. You know what I mean? I just don't get that vibe. But that's not about his performance. That's just about the look. And you can't solve that 100% because Comic Abraham looked like a monster. You know, he looked like a bodybuilding beast. I don't expect Michael Cutlets to be like that. I am thrilled that he started working out, you know, for the gig and everything like that. That is awesome. That shows dedication and respect to the role and all that. And I'm thrilled that he did that. With Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I'm not saying this is a complete insult, that he's not like this big beast of a man. He does seem like he has a height thing going on, and that is fine. It just seems like he's a little too skinny where he might not do so well in a one-on-one, and I think that's what made Negan even more threatening. You know what I mean? Because in a one-on-one, he could probably just take out a whole room full of people by slamming them around, bullying them around and shit like that. But one other criticism, slightly, is the comedic, laughing, playful side of Negan. I've always wanted him doing that. And I always pictured him being loud, like roaring like a lion when he's being ridiculous sometimes. That's how the character reads a little bit. And I don't feel like we get that. I feel like we get the more, I want to be a dick. I'm smiling. This is all fun to me. Sometimes I feel like the smiles should stop. Maybe they linger too long. Those are literally the only little criticisms to Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan. I love the shit out of what he's doing. I fucking love it. Like, fucking love it. Couple little tweaks, not a problem. Other than that, I love it. Shannon M. The Walking Dead / Fear the Walking Dead. Will they soon be in the same timeline? Not unless you drop a lot of acid. I mean, Fear the Walking Dead is still, what, a couple months into the apocalypse, and they're not slowing down. No, sorry, they are slowing down. They're not speeding up. They already said that Season 3 is going to be about where they are now, and then the family being pitted against each other on two different sides of the border, whatever it is. They're not time skipping anything, you know what I mean? So, no, there's just no way. Not unless they wrap up Season 3 and come back in Season 4 like 3 years later. You know, I don't see them doing that. Not at all. George T. How would you restructure 7A? That would probably take, you know, a full video all in itself. I would restructure it blended, that's all. I think story-wise, they got a great thing going. They are on point when it comes to the story. When it comes to the structure of the story, I think that's probably its worst enemy right now. Amber Walcott. Holly's death. Who, when, does it move the story forward, and should we skip it? And we talked about this briefly, but with Holly's death, who, I don't know. It could be Tara, Rosita, Sasha, but then again, it doesn't matter. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the when and does it move the story forward, because in the comic, it had to deal with a person getting revenge because of Abraham. It had to do with Negan thinking that was Rick's girlfriend, and then it had to do with Heath and Denise. That's all changed. All of that is changed. So they're either going to skip it, remix it in a big way, I mean change the how it pushes the story forward altogether, and when, I think if they do it, it will be in season 8, definitely. Right now, I'm 70% sure they're going to skip it. And that's mainly because they did it in Fear of the Walking Dead. So I think they might skip it. William, Aaron in 7B, big role, question mark. No. Unfortunately, with the structure, I don't think we have time to have these side characters. I don't want to call Aaron a side character, man. He's really stepping it up. The actor's really kicking ass. But when I say something like that, I mean a character that we haven't had since episode 2, episode 1, stuff like that. But when it comes to his character, I just don't believe the story is structured enough to have him have a really big role. But I am starting to feel like they can see the talent in the actor, and he's going to have a bigger role on the show than he did in the comic. I don't think it's going to be huge, it might not be massive, but I think it's going to be bigger than the comic. Definitely, or maybe I hope it is. Michael S. All Out War, all of Season 8, question mark. This is a good one. I hope so. I hope they do the war. If you look at the war creatively, and if you want to structure each half season as having a different theme, do All Out War in 3 themes. I just thought of that. You have to do it in 3 because you take 7A. The first half goes from... Ooh, this, I just thought this is nice. I like this. Rick getting the upper hand from episode 1 to 8 in season 8. Upper hand, transition into Negan getting the upper hand. Enter the second half of season 8 with Negan having the upper hand, and then after the following 8 episodes, when we get to the season finale, transition into Rick having the upper hand. You could do that, or you can do sporadic battles here and there and make it feel like 2 different like 2 different halves, you know what I mean? Like you have the first half where it is all over the place, they're jumping around, and the second half you mainly focus on like these 2 communities or something like that. You could even destroy Alexandria in the first half and then have the characters run to the hilltop and restructure for the second half. But I feel like they should definitely just give us the all-out war in those 16 episodes. They can do it. They definitely could do it. You could throw filler in there. You could throw character development stuff in there. You could have this action-packed season, jam full of wars and fighting and story, character stuff. Stuff we love to see. Insert that in between all the action and fighting. I don't think they should, or I don't think they need to do 6 solid episodes of non-stop. Remember when they shot up the outpost? I don't think we need 6 episodes of that. Okay, that's the war. Let's go into a new beginning. If they do that, it would probably be like a very action-packed first half. But it would be a little disappointing because I feel like there's a lot they can do there. Now that I'm thinking about it, and this is my, the creative wheels turning in my head, if you want to do a new beginning properly, and you want it to be a tad bit slow, and you want to build up this new storyline in the new beginning, and you want to build up some kind of like hidden threat, some surprise threat, maybe that's the plan, to use the first half of season 8 as some intense, crazy, action-packed, fast-paced war after, mini war after mini war. Communities are destroyed until Rick Grimes and gang finally win in episode 8. If they destroy Alexandria in episode 5, they can have a crew repairing Alexandria while they are filming in different locations. I just thought of that. That might be a workaround. So follow me. They have a fast-paced, intense as fuck first half of season 8. And then the next half would be the new beginning where it is slow. You know what I mean? But I think that might help balance out the feel of the season, balance out the story, balance out the ratings. It might be the slow introduction of this new world. It might just be crazy in the middle of the season. It might have like a totally risk-taking, interesting vibe to it. So there's definitely arguments on both sides. At this point in time, I want all-out war in season 8, and then new beginning, all fresh in the new season. I want it, or I would like it advertised, you know, big, new beginning, new looks, new world, like just as some kind of big, new, refreshing event for the world of The Walking Dead. I think that would be so friggin' awesome. They could even take a year and a half off or some shit like that. I don't know if that, maybe that's too much. Fans would be like, no, fuck you, Ronnie, you know, but maybe take a little time off and then come back with this whole new world or something like that. Leave your thoughts and opinions down below, what you think and what do you want coming for All Out War Season 7, that back half, and then Season 8, and then even Season 9 if you think we're going to get the new beginning. Put all that down in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.